Kilauea Volcano latest updates, Hawaii activity, deformation and inflation with magma supply. And of course, the crater lake is really increasing. I have videos from USGS, the flyovers, December 18 and 19. These are the latest multimedia that they have on their website, Volcano Observatory. I'll leave links below for you for this, of course. The deformation information having to do with the, let's read the current alerts first. January 9th, Kilauea Volcano, summit elevation 1,247 meters or 4,091 feet. The aviation color code is green. Current alert level is normal. Kilauea Volcano is not erupting. Monitoring data for December show variable rates of seismicity and ground deformation, low rates of sulfur dioxide emissions, and only minor geological changes since the end of the eruptive activity, September 2018. Monitoring data have shown no significant changes in volcanic activity during December. Rates of seismicity over the month were variable, but within long-term veils. Sulfur dioxide emission rates are low at the summit and are below detection limits at Pu'u'o crater and the lower East Rift Zone. The pond at the bottom of Halemaumau, which began forming July 25, 2019, continues to slowly expand and it deepens. As of early January, dimensions are 84 meters by 190 meters, that's about 280 feet by 620 feet. The current depth is about 75 feet deep. So that's pretty deep, don't you think? Now, over the past month, about a dozen deflation-inflation DI events occurred beneath the summit, similar to the prior month. Since early March of 2019, GPS stations and tilt meters at Kilauea summit have recorded deformation consistent with slow magma accumulation. Okay, so it's inflating. It's deforming, it's inflating because slow magma is accumulating within the shallow portion of the Kilauea summit magma system, which is about 1 to 2 kilometers or approximately a mile below the ground level. However, gas measurements show continuing low levels of sulfur dioxide consistent with no significant shallowing of magma. Some amount of sulfur dioxide is being dissolved into the summit lake. Work continues to try to quantify this process. Now, further east, GPS stations and tilt meters continue to show motion consistent with slowed refilling of the deep East Rift Zone magmatic reservoir in the broad region between Pu'u'o and Highway 130. Monitoring data do not suggest any imminent changes in volcanic hazards for this area. In addition to motion along the East Rift Zone, the south flank of Kilauea continues to creep seaward at elevated rates following the May 4, 2019 6.9 earthquake near Kalapana. That's the earthquake that took place before the eruption. Now, we have the previous video having to do with Mauna Loa. We did look at the, I'll look at them again, we'll see them together, that there is slippage towards the southeast. On the south of Kilauea, on the East Rift Zone, it's showing that it's inflating and it's also slipping towards the southeast. But most of the earthquakes that we're having are at Pahala, which are deep earthquakes, and they're in the area of the trunk that's joining the mantle plume, the chamber, with the craters. That's how deep they are. They're about, let me go back to that, they're about 37 kilometers in depth. Most of them are very deep earthquakes in Pahala. 31 kilometers depth, but we'll see them together. Whereas Mauna Loa and Kilauea are shallow. They're about 0.2 kilometers depth. But let's go back to the Volcano Observatory current alert, the status. So the Kilauea continues to creep seaward at elevated rates after the 2018 magnitude 6.9 earthquake near Kalapana. HVO continues to carefully monitor all data streams along the Kilauea East Rift Zone and South Flank for important changes. Although not currently erupting, areas of persistently elevated ground temperatures and minor release of gases are still found in the vicinity of the 2018 Lower East Rift Zone fissures. These include steam, that is water, and very small amounts of hydrogen sulfide and carbon dioxide. These conditions are expected to be long-term. Similar conditions following the 1955 eruption continued for years to decades. Hazards remain at the Lower East Rift Zone eruption area and at Kilauea Summit. Residents and visitors near the 2018 fissures and lava flows and summit collapse areas should heed the Hawaii County Civil Defense and National Park warnings. Lava flows and features created by the 2018 eruption are primarily on private property, and persons are asked to be respectful and not to enter or park on private property. The Hawaiian Volcano Observatory, HVO, continues to closely monitor geologic changes, seismicity, deformation, and gas emissions for any sign of increased activity in Kilauea. HVO maintains visual surveillance of the volcano with web cameras and field visits and flyovers, of course. Now, additional messages and alerts level changes will be issued as warranted by changing activity. Now, background: as of June 25th, 2019, Kilauea Volcano has been at normal green, and for definitions you can, and alert levels and aviation codes, you can go to the links in the Hawaii Volcano Observatory for Kilauea. And now, although we expect clear signs prior to the next eruption, Kilauea, they say, remains an active volcano and it will erupt again. Although we expect clear signs prior to the next eruption, the time frame of warning may be short. Islands of Hawaii residents should be familiar with the long-term hazard map of Kilauea volcanoes. And now we'll take a look at the earthquakes together and the deformation. You can see where the GPS is showing that it's going on the Lower East Rift Zone. Okay, here we are at Kilauea Hawaii Volcano Observatory. These are the earthquakes. The past 28 days we've had over 430 earthquakes in this area. Most of them, as you can see, are in Pahala, right here, and they're quite deep. 19 miles, okay, 23 miles, whereas here in South Berkeley, they are in kilometers, as you can see, okay, 35 kilometers. That is the area of the, where we have the trunk joining to the magma chamber. That's very deep down. And as we said before, these are all joined to one magma chamber. Mauna Loa, Kilauea, Loihi Seamount. One magma chamber with 3 fingers sticking up. But we're not going to go into Pahala. This is a new area, basically new in that it has recently had most of the earthquakes. This is where the activity is. Okay, this is our Kilauea area. This is the past days quakes, as you can see. This one's pretty deep, but this is this one here is in Pahala. The deep ones are in Pahala, as you can see. This one here again, Pahala. This one, Pahala, and they're much bigger than the ones in Kilauea. Well, I shouldn't say that actually. This was 3.3. Okay, on the 14th, and this was 3.1. The video I had before this says 3.3, but they degraded to 3.1, I guess. Okay, but I want to go to the GPS so that we can see the deformation, where it's going. Okay, this thing here, we can see that it's, okay, look at the dates. This was after the eruption, and we have an inflation of that area. We also have the deformation going east and south. It's going southeast and it's inflating, as we can see. Okay, GPS APNT. APNT. It's going southeast and it's inflating. Southeast and This is the flank here. It's going southeast and it's inflating. Okay? And I'll leave links below for you for this. As you can see, most of the earthquakes are in Pahala. And something's going on here because that's very deep, and it's in the area of the trunk that joins the magma chamber to the surface. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.